Milan fans, you are looking at in this photo the Serie A assist leader of the last 5 years in Rafa Leao with 36, and just the second Milan player in the three-point era to score a goal in his first two Serie A games in Santi Giménez. Final score today in Milan in the Serie A, Milan 1, Verona 0. Rafa Leao assisting Santi Giménez for the only goal of the game, and Milan pick up a pretty ugly but very important 3 points. How's it going, everyone? My name is Marco, and good to be back on the channel under some better circumstances today. Thank you so much for the love in the last video I posted on Kush's channel. It meant a lot to me. Once again, I go by @MeMarcoG on all platforms, Instagram and TikTok being the main ones, and I'll be covering the match review again today for the Milan-Verona game. Once again, I'm sure you know by now, but Kush is on vacation. If you want to stay in touch with him, you can follow him over at FootballKush on Instagram. Let's get into the review. We're going to go from ugly to bad to good today. I like to end on a high note. And starting off with ugly, those football kits, man. Those off-white Puma kits. Listen, I know I'm getting old. I'm getting to unk status. Maybe I already am. But these kits just don't do it for me. I don't mind the black ones, like with the red accents on it, but I just can't get past the green. Maybe just me. Again, I'm getting old. Maybe you guys like it. What do you think? Let me know down below. But now we'll go into the bad category, and here was the 11 from today. Starting in goal, of course, Mike Maignan. On the right, Kyle Walker. In the middle, Malik Thiaw. And Gabbia coming in for suspended Tomori. On the left, Theo. In the middle, Fofana, Reinders, obviously. And then on the right, we had Yunus Musa. Felix in the middle. Sortil with his first start on the left. And then Santi Giménez up top. Now, I did think actually that Sortil for his first start looked pretty good today. The final ball, the final pass wasn't great, but I did think it was pretty unfair taking him off after the first half. Obviously, it was the right call in hindsight, but again, thought he was okay. However, on the right side, his counterpart, Yunus Musa, listen, that first half offensively for Milan was pretty bad, but I thought Yunus Musa in particular was a really hard watch. I think Kush sums it up really well when it comes to Yunus Musa. He's a player that has everything technically, but when it comes to the final decision, the final link-up pass, the final shot, it's almost always bad or the wrong decision or both. I like the guy. He never stops working, but I think we're seeing now that his best position is definitely in the midfield and not on the right wing. And credit to Conceição for moving him there after Fofana was kind of getting tired today because he was much better in the midfield. But again, overall today, I would say Yunus Musa was a pretty hard watch. And I had written down here too, 3 shots off target, 1 cross attempt. He had a chance to score a goal too at the end of the first half off a pass from Santi Giménez inside the box. He was off balance, but he skies it. Again, just overall, not a great day for Yunus Musa. But that's it for bad, and we can move on to good now, or kind of good, and we're going to talk Rafa Leao. And I do think that Yunus Musa was more of a fitness decision with leaving Pulisic on the bench for the Champions League game coming up this week. But I do think that Sortil was a tactical decision by Conceição because I'm going to read you some stats here. And again, I'm a big Rafa guy. I want to make that clear. But since Conceição has gotten here, before this game, Rafa has played 11 games. He has 3 goals and 1 assist. Of those 11 games, Rafa has started 7 of them, and Milan's only won 2 of those games. Now, that's, of course, making things a bit too simple, but the facts are right now that Rafa's affecting games much more off the bench. He comes on today. It didn't start well. Misplaced passes, heavy touches, weird flicks. But, you know, this is the good category, and I cannot put Rafa in the bad category after making a goal like that. It was brilliantly worked. It starts off by Reinders keeping the ball in the midfield quite well. Gets the ball to Alex, who finds Rafa. Back to Alex. Alex then flicks the ball over the top to Rafa. Really, really well done. And then Rafa flicks the ball to Santi Giménez, who just cannot miss that. And that now makes 36 assists for Rafa in the Serie A in the past 5 seasons. And mind you, as Martino pointed out too, he has done all this while playing with a aging Giroud and an even older Zlatan Ibrahimovic. It's just really impressive by Rafa Leao. But again, I know that Rafa right now is a bit of a touchy subject, and people say that he should go or he's not doing enough or we're too harsh on him. And again, I love Rafa. I've never once been Rafa out or sell him for 100 million, whatever it is. I just think that, you know, more casual fans will look at that assist stat now and say, how can you critique this guy? But for those of us that watch him game in and game out, we know, especially this year, how much better it can be just in his overall play, right? And I think that, yeah, it was a fantastic assist today. It was a crucial assist, but that doesn't mean we can't critique the other 30 minutes of bad play. And I just think that overall this year, it can be much better, more consistently. And I think that's a fair thing to say. But keeping in the good category, we're going to go with the Milan defense and more specifically Malik Thiaw. The reality is today, Verona was just not very good. They were really, really bad, honestly. But anything they did kind of muster up was shut down pretty quickly by Malik Thiaw. How good has he been this season? Definitely, I think, our most improved player compared to what he was last season. And for me, this game, man of the match for sure. What impresses me most about Malik Thiaw is how young he is, but how calm he looks on the ball at all times. And today, too, what I noticed was also his passing, which has been much improved recently. I wrote down today, too, 89% pass accuracy, 4 long balls, 3 accurate. Also had a great find to Santi in that first half, who did score that goal, but he was just offside. What a luxury it is having a center back that can pass like that. And keeping in the good category, I want to give a shout out to Milan manager Sergio Conceição. And again, this whole game was not convincing, but for what it was, I think he managed the game quite well. Again, Verona were very, very poor today, but between resting players and working with new players too, this was definitely a game that Milan were more in control of than what's been the usual recently. We didn't concede, and ultimately the subs today decided the game too. If you want to talk about Alex Giménez coming on for Kyle Walker to help construct that goal, Rafa as well. Also seeing that Fofana was fading in that second half and bringing on Pulisic and then moving Musa to the midfield, which I thought was a great decision too. It was not pretty, but we got the job done, and that's all we need these days. And lastly, a couple more quick shout-outs for me. I want to give a shout-out to Johnny Reinders, who just continues to put in shift after shift for this Milan team. He's definitely slowed down recently when it comes to goals and assists, but one of those players where when you watch him for a few minutes and focus on just him, he gives you so much and makes all the right decisions almost every single time. I also want to shout out João Felix, who I thought was pretty positive today. One of those games where if you look at his stats, you're going to see no goals, no assists, and possession losses, those sort of things too. But I watch him play, and compared to someone like Rafa, who these days makes you kind of scratch your head, I look at Felix and I see him making all the right decisions, but it's coming down to the passes being maybe a second too early, a second too late, those sorts of things, which, again, he just got here. Same with Santi, and I think over time, that kind of chemistry will come. And lastly, of course, mentioning Santi, shout out him as well. Again today, not a bunch of service, maybe a bit more than the Feyenoord game, but he got 2 clear-cut chances today. One was offside, but he scored them both. We need that kind of clinical finishing in this team. And so far, Milan, 4 games, 2 goals, 1 assist for Santi. Can't ask for more than that. And the game finishes there. And again, it wasn't pretty, but a massive 3 points. Today especially, Lazio drop points, Atalanta drop points, Napoli drop points, and tomorrow, Juve plays Inter. So somebody above Milan's also going to drop points. And then all of a sudden, Milan are 5 points back of top 4 with a game in hand, and it's looking not impossible. But that is it from me, Milan fans. Once again, I want to give a massive thank you to Kush for letting me speak on the channel. It means a lot to me. This has been tons of fun. Thank you all to you as well for giving me your time today. If you like what you heard and you want to follow me, there'll be links down below, I'm sure. But I go by @MeMarcoG on all my platforms, Instagram and TikTok being the main one. Once again, Kush will be on vacation for the next little while. If you want to connect with him, find him at Instagram over at FootballKush. Next up, we have Feyenoord in the Champions League that Milan have to win that game. We cannot buy their best player and then lose to them in the Champions League. So we got to win that. But again, leave your thoughts down below about the game and those kits as well. I will see you all soon. And as always, Forza Milan.